Hi, I'm Apollonia. You may remember me from Purple Rain as leading lady to Prince, or from my band Apollonia 6. I've starred in films, TV shows, and I've been on the cover of magazines all over the world, including Playboy. I was also an LA Rams cheerleader. I'm going to take you with me. Welcome to my podcast, Apollonia Studio 6. Hi, I'm Apollonia, and welcome to my podcast, Apollonia Studio 6. And to my right is my co-host, Mr. Seth.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Seth, for being here today. And will you let our fams know who our guest is today?
We have a music legend. He is a music icon. He is the guy who has made the careers of some of the biggest artists ever in music. He's the one and only Mr. Joe Isgro.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
I thought you were bringing somebody else on. I didn't know it was for me. Oh, okay. Thank you. I'll take it.
Oh, man, this is so great. We have Joe Isgro.
Yes.
I am so honored to have you here today, Joe.
Oh, the pleasure's mine.
Wow.
Mine.
Man, I don't even know where to start. We were just sitting here laughing before we started the show, talking about, how many years we've known each other. But
Yeah.
I'll start with your beginnings.
My beginning?
Your beginnings. You were born in Philadelphia,
Correct.
August.
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
Been in enough birthday parties.
So I want to know what your childhood life was like in Philly, your neighborhood. What was that like for you? What were you doing?
Well, I come from a very humble background. So there was 6 of us, 6
Mhm.
children. And we had one room. Had 2 bunk beds on either side. And I would say pretty poor.
Yeah,
Yeah, things were rough, but
Right.
it was good. We had good parents.
right.
And, I went to school, graduated high school,
Mhm.
barely, and then was right off to the Marine Corps because
Right.
at that time the draft was on.
Mm-hmm.
And you had the option of going to college, which that wasn't in my future,
Right,
and or you were going to be drafted.
right,
So I decided to enlist because my father was a Marine, my
Mm.
grandfather was a Marine, so I figured
right,
if I enlist, I can choose the branch of service I went in.
right.
Then off to Vietnam I went,
Wow.
came
was
back.
Wow. And you said your father was in the Marines. What
Yeah.
did so he had a military life all of his life.
No. He served during the Second World War
Okay.
and then got out when the war was over and started his family.
Mm-hmm. What did
Yeah.
he do?
He was at construction. He was a carpenter.
So that's how he put food on the table for you.
Yes, he did.
What did your mom do?
My mother was a homekeeper. She
Yeah.
took care of her 6 kids. That was a big job.
So out of the 6 kids, you have how many brothers or sisters?
All sisters.
All sisters.
Wow.
And you're the only male.
Correct.
Man, can you imagine having like your badass brother, like,
And the oldest,
and
which meant that I had to look out for them all.
Oh,
so you,
okay.
oh,
Yeah.
wow. I
And
bet
that
there's
was a whole nother motion picture. I'm sure they were happy to see me enlist in the Marines.
So it must have been like, so you would have to like meet their boyfriends and everything?
No, like I said, they were younger than me. So
Mhm.
when I went to Vietnam, I was 18
Mm.
when I left for Vietnam. So my
Mhm.
sisters were, I guess, 16, 17,
Mhm.
and then down from there.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
yeah, it was, you had to keep an eye out for your sisters.
Right. What did you do for fun this is before you enlisted, when you were still
Well,
with
there
your-
wasn't much time between getting out of high school and
Mhm.
enlisted. I enlisted very quickly
right.
into the Marine Corps, and then went off to training boot camp,
Mm-hmm.
and then into the service, off to Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
So you
remember
were
my father telling me, he says, "Listen, if you got to enlist,
right.
at least learn something, take
Right.
up some kind of trade, so when you come out." Well, I says, "I'm going to go to what? I would rather be in Vietnam than
Right.
going back to school again."
Right,
At that time,
exactly.
so, and I said, yeah, okay, that's what I do. So what I did is I got a degree in guerrilla warfare and
Mhm.
one in jungle warfare.
Damn.
I
19.
Yeah, and I remember sitting with my father on a Sunday afternoon when I came home, and he hit me in the head with the Sunday paper, and he said, "Do me a favor." He said, "Now take a look at the one ads there. let me know where you're going to get a job in guerrilla warfare and jungle warfare, right? Well, I got a point there.
I see where you get your sense of humor from your pop.
He was a fun guy.
Oh, man. So this is, by your 20th, your term had ended with the Marines.
Mhm.
You were presented a Purple Heart
Yeah, in Vietnam, yeah.
by Westmoreland.
Well, no, I was that was an honor thing after I came home and
Okay.
I was successful in the music business. Then I had met him and everything because Westmoreland was commanding general of
Right.
all troops. I was
Right.
decorated on the field by General Stiles,
Okay.
who was commanding general of Task Force X-Ray, which was what I was a part of
Wow.
in Vietnam.
Wow.
How did you transition from that military life into the music business? How did
Well,
that happen?
that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I went to work when I first came home for Hoffa as a union organizer in Philadelphia. And
No.
that lasted about, well, I was going out with a girl who was, I think she was first or second runner up in Miss Pennsylvania.
Mm.
So she said to me, she said, is this really what you want to do the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Because the job was to go in and really basically get in fights and get the unions into places. I'd come home to gash here, a cut here, a toothpaste.
No.
Yeah.
She says, is this really what you want to do the rest of your life?
Wow.
And I said, well, for right now, I'm fine, you know. And she said, well, she worked at a radio station. She worked at WIP in Philadelphia. She was a receptionist there. So she said, well, she says, I know a lot of the promotion guys that come in for their appointments every week. She says, why don't I ask one if there's some kind of availability in the music business? And I said, what do I know about the music business? I know what records are 49 cents the singles, right?
Yeah.
I said, and $1 an hour, $2.99 for the album. I said, beyond that, that's the end of my knowledge of
Right,
music
right.
business.
Yeah.
Well, at least you can try. Maybe you can get in at some level or something like that. So she set me up with an interview with Decca Records at the time, which was Sam
Right.
Passamana, Decca.
Right.
There were three companies, Decca, Uni, and Cap, which went on to be MCA, which is Universal today. So it was in Camden, New Jersey. So I remember the interview. I could still remember it clearly today. Sam was a really nice guy. He was a good guy. So he said to me, are you a musician? I said, no. And he says, are you a college graduate? No. He says, do you know anything about the music business or anything? I said, no, not at all. So, and he says, why would you be applying for this job? And I said, you know what, I'm going to be honest with you. Can I say whatever I said? I says, because my girl's breaking my balls and she doesn't want me doing what I'm doing. She wants me to get into it. That's the only reason I'm here, pal. So he said, well, thanks for coming and everything else like that, but I think we're looking for somebody more qualified. I said, fine, I'm good with that. And at least I went to the interview. It's over, right? So lo and behold, about a month later, I got a call from him. He called me up and he said, it's Sam Passamano. Excuse me. And I said, okay. So he said, why don't you come down and talk to me? Okay, so I drove over to Camden and sat down and he said, listen, I think we need some new blood in this business. And he says, and you're a veteran and everything. He says, I'm inclined to give you a chance. He says, you're kind of an interesting guy. Is what he said to me. Alex, okay. So he says, I'll give you I was making $165 a week. He says, I'll give you $150 a week to start. And you can start in local promotion and learn, and then you can work your way up there. And I said to him, wait a minute. I said, I told you I'm making $165 a year. Why the hell would I take a job for $150 a year? And he said to me, maybe because you'd have a future. And I said, yeah, there's a point there, you know. So I took the job. I accepted the job because he said to me, and the only reason I accepted it is because he says, I'll give you $50 a week expenses.
Oh.
So I did the math right away.
Yeah.
I was ahead of the game. I'm good to go.
Yeah.
So and that's how I started in the music business.
Wow.
You know, and it was like, not only was I entering a whole new world here, at the time I came home, when I left to go to Vietnam, the guys had really short haircuts. The girls wore the long skirts and everything else like that. And that's what but that's what I know when I left, and Johnny Mathis and
Right.
Yeah.
in that
right.
era. When I came back, the guys' hair were longer than women's hair,
Right.
and the girls' dresses were much shorter. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yep.
So it was a whole new experience when I came back. The music, everything was totally different. I
Yeah.
went from Johnny Mathis to Led Zeppelin in a very quick period of time. So
Right.
it was a jolt to the system.
Yeah.
And then I was getting into a business which I knew absolutely nothing about.
Mhm.
And I remember my first day when I went down, all the guys were lined up to go to see the program director. And, the guys were asking me questions like, you were actually in Vietnam? In my neighborhood, everybody went to Vietnam. It was nothing special about me going to Vietnam.
Yeah.
I said,
Right.
yeah, why? You didn't go?
Yeah.
No, we didn't go. Did you actually shoot somebody?
Oh.
I said, well, I defended myself, if
Right.
that's what you meant.
Yeah.
And but I was like a total anomaly to these guys.
to
It
these
was
guys.
just a whole different breed
Right.
of guys that I was, as opposed to the guys I always used to hang out with.
Wow.
But I learned quick.
That
you
was
know.
wild. Now, when you came back, were you in touch, and are you still in touch with some of your brothers, military?
Not really. I'd laugh because you got to remember we were flirting around with 60 years ago, 55 years ago. No.
Okay.
I'm not. I was for the first few years, and they'd had a couple of get-togethers, but after 25, 30 years went by, people start passing, and no,
Yeah.
not
Wow.
really.
It's really interesting because I can relate to, because my grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
was one of the first female union organizers in the 40s.
Ah,
AFL-CIO,
okay, right,
and UAW.
right.
And the way she met my grandfather was he was the foreman for the UAW in Detroit. I'm from Detroit originally.
I see.
So when you start talking about unions, and I totally get that, because that was their life pretty much through the time I was growing up.
Yeah.
And then my mother and father were music people. My
Oh.
mother was in Parliament Funkadelic with
Oh,
George
yeah,
and
sure. George Clinton. Yeah.
and all of those guys, and
Oh.
and
Mom's name.
yeah, her name is Malia Franklin. And the funny thing, and we'll get to this once we get to your Motown days, but there's a connection that we have with Jeffrey Bowen.
Oh, sure.
So we'll get a little further into that when we go into Motown, though. So after Decca, you went to Paramount Records.
I think Paramount was next on the list. Yeah.
Okay.
1970.
What was the first record that you broke that like went crazy?
Melanie.
Mm.
I don't know if you guys remember Melanie or not. Yeah.
Lay Down.
I Laid Down,
Yeah.
Candles, the Candles album she did
Yep.
in Central Park. This was brand new roller skate.
Brand new. Yeah.
That
I
was-
got a brand new key. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. I
That was
loved. I bought the 45.
Yeah, that was the first that I remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty amazing.
And then you went to Motown.
Well, I was
What
at
was it?
Paramount.
Paramount. Yeah.
What was most exciting about that is
Yeah.
The Godfather coming out. Remember,
Oh,
Paramount
yeah,
did the movie.
yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So we were just really happy about the movie and everything.
Yeah.
But Paramount, and then after that, I think I went to, I don't know if I went to Roulette
Mhm.
right at the time. That was right around the same time. I
Okay.
did
Yes.
work for a period of time for an independent distributor, which
Yeah.
was Universal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I went to work for Morris Levy at Roulette
Okay.
shortly thereafter.
Okay.
1974, you were at Roulette as National Director of Promotion,
Yeah.
and you got to oversee the company's publicity and advertising.
No, I was a promotion guy.
Promotion.
Yeah, I did promotion there.
Damn you, Wikipedia.
Oh yeah. Well, one good thing about it, they have me a year younger than what I am. on
Okay.
Wikipedia. They had me born in '48, I think.
Oh. Now, when you were at Paramount,
Yeah.
you were there with Billy Joel and the Crusaders.
Yeah, Jazz Crusaders.
So Billy Joel was just like he was starting out.
It's before he started out, actually. Yeah, it
Jeez.
was. He really was. I remember taking him around to at that time they had what were they called, the little coffee places where they used to play, like in a village in New York.
Oh. Yeah,
That's
coffee
what
coffee shops.
Yeah, like
Coffee
the coffee
houses.
shops. They would
Yeah.
go around and play in those places and stuff. Like I used to take them around to go to those places. That's right before Piano Man came.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say Piano Man.
Yeah.
Wow,
Then
wow.
came Piano Man.
Wow. So now, We're in 1976.
Motown Records.
Motown.
Your big break.
Well, I worked regional right after Roulette. I went to work regionally for Motown
Okay, got you.
first,
Okay.
and then the opportunity came up, and I was contacted, and they wanted me to come in and take over the national job in California. And that's when I came. I think that was 76. I think I'd
76.
been working for them about a year before that as a regional guy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I came in around that time. Around
Okay.
76, I came to California.
Okay. Like I was saying, my Aunt Jennifer was the fiance of Jeffrey Bowen when he was still in Detroit
Right.
at Invictus
Right.
Records with
Sure.
Holland
Yeah,
Dozier
Dozier
Holland.
and Holland, right.
And Barry, he met with Barry in London, Barry and Diana Ross. And Barry offered him a position out here in LA. 72, I think him and my Aunt Jennifer moved out here. They moved out here together and moved into that house on Sunset View Drive, Barry's house.
Yep.
And interestingly enough, because I wrote a book before my mom passed away. I wrote her memoirs and the other collective women of Parliament Funkadelic.
Right.
And one of the funny things is that there's a whole chapter that's dedicated to that Motown time. And one of the things that they talk about is Diana recording at Marvin Gaye's house, that album that had Love Hangover on it. Sly Stone was supposed to produce some things on that album. The story of why that blew up is in the book.
Right. Right.
But my Aunt Jennifer was engaged to Jeffrey when Jeffrey met Bonnie and the Pointer Sisters at Richard Pryor's house. He was having a party at Richard Pryor's house. Richard Pryor was having a party. And that's when Jeffrey met Bonnie and convinced Bonnie to leave the Pointer Sisters because he was going to make her the new Diana Ross.
She was ended up on my label.
I know.
Yeah.
Beast in Me.
Yeah.
I have it. I
Yes.
have it.
Yes. That was years later.
Yeah, Private Eye.
Yes,
Right?
correct. Yeah.
But yeah, it was just those days, just that chapter. And I remember as a little kid going up to that house, the Gordy house over on Sunset View Drive, right behind the 9000 building.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
9,000.
right behind the 9000 building.
Wow.
And
Where
so
my agent used to be.
you know, when I saw your piece on your life and you started talking about Bonnie, and I was like, oh my God, the world is just so small.
Yeah.
That's
it is.
incredible.
Yeah.
So, man, being at Motown, I mean, so you're there doing promotion and you're responsible for development for people like Diana Ross, Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, Smokey Robinson, The Temptations, Lionel Richie, the Jacksons, the Commodores, Thelma Houston, Tina Marie. Then Motown then promotes you to National Director of Promotion.
Well, let me interrupt you.
Go ahead, please.
I would never take the credit of saying that I was responsible for Diana. Diana Ross was long before my time. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So was Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder.
Right.
But the bottom line is certainly worked all their records
Right.
from the time I got there, and we did Song is a Key of Life. And remember, Marvin then left Motown and went to Columbia. And Diana was kind of interesting because we had she hadn't had a hit in a while. It had been quite a while. She had a cold spell. Tremendously talented, but she had a cold spell there for a while. And Burry, that was his baby. I mean, he wanted Diana to have a hit, and I think he brought in Holland Dozier and Holland. I know he brought in whoever you were. If you could
Right.
produce, you were there.
Yep.
And then working on that album, and I remember him calling me, and the album was ready because this was like a big deal at Motown. When's our album going to be ready? And we're all waiting for it. And he called me up, and I got in the album and listened to it. And he says, "Well, this is the single." And when I heard this single, it's not the one I was getting feedback on at all.
Really?
No. And I said, "Well, Mr. Gordy," I said, "that's really not the." I said, "I can get more feedback on this." And he said, "Well, I'll never forget his words." He says, "Well, I own the company." So I said, "You own the company. It makes you rich. It don't make you right."
See?
And I wanted Love Hangover.
Yeah.
But they weren't. That wasn't the first choice.
Right.
So anyhow, we went with Love Hangover,
Right.
and that was actually right in the disco era, really. And we did really well with it, and kind of brought Diana back, and then she ended up leaving anyhow,
Yeah.
and going to RCA shortly thereafter.
Yeah, that's
you
right.
know.
But that's still development, what he's doing.
Well, I
though, and
worked
selecting,
all their records
Yeah.
when I was there, obviously, but the Commodores for sure. The Commodores were nobody ever heard of the Commodores.
Yeah.
When they came, they were one of the acts that we definitely broke. But Stevie had been around, but we had one of his biggest albums. We had one of Michael's biggest albums, and those we all marketed, and we did all the promotion on those.
Wow. So you got to spend time with Michael.
Yeah, well, Michael
promotion.
was right around the corner from me after a while, and I
Out in the
was
valley?
doing well. Yeah, in Encino. He lived I was on one street. There was 4 homes there, and he was right behind us. So I knew the mother and father really well. I knew the other sisters too.
Right.
I had Latoya on my label,
Right.
and
That's right.
you had Janet, and I knew
Right.
them all very well.
That's right. That's right. I remember as a kid, they would open up the doors, the gates to their house,
Yeah,
and we would show up, my brother and I, and they would allow us to play basketball. And then
Yeah, of course.
sometimes the Osmonds, there was like, they would show up, Donnie would show up, and we were like the little token Mexican kids that were like, we want to play basketball with Michael. Anyhow.
What were some of the other, as we're talking about Motown, Love Hangover kind of started a streak of hits that you were.
we had Thelma Houston, "Don't Leave Me This Way."
Oh,
that was
man.
one
Yeah.
that was definitely one we broke. That was one of our projects, and that was a huge record for them. Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, Smokey Robinson. Who else was it? Commodores.
What was the
Thames.
biggest Motown record that you broke? The biggest one that you said this is the one.
Well, I would say that was brand new. That was a new artist.
Yeah.
would have been Thelma Houston.
Okay.
That was
Don't
huge
Leave Me
because
This Way
that
was
wasn't
huge.
just an R&B record.
Yeah.
That was a big pop record
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
So that was good. Unfortunately, there was nothing really left in the album.
Yeah.
And nothing really came of her career. She really didn't develop much of a career after that I know of.
Yeah.
A great talent, but
Yeah.
sometimes that happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you, not having musical background, getting that first job, what is it about you that enables you to hear 5 songs and you say 5 songs, none of them are a hit, or you'll hear 5 songs and one of them you're like, that's your first release? What is it?
Two different phases of my life. At that phase, with the younger phase, when you're actually out in the street, you're out of the clubs, you're out at I was at Woodstock, so you get out there, you kind of get the feel. So that was in the very early stages. But at that stage of my life, I didn't really have much say in what singles they chose because I was a fledgling promotion guy who got all my. Okay. Later on in life, I have to attribute a lot of that, in all fairness, is because I had been doing promotion for a while. I had a lot of connections. So I was able to get it out to the guys and get some feedback.
Right.
It wasn't just me magically picking a song. I had feedback. I would go to the guys and say, to radio guys,
Right.
and say, what are you feeling? What are you feeling? And when they would give me the input and say, well, we like this one or that one. And let's face it, without that, you don't have a hit
Right.
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah.
At the time, you got social media today, which is
Yeah.
a whole new ball game today.
Yep.
So after Motown, is that when you started kind of doing things independently?
Yeah,
Or
well,
for different companies?
I'll tell you a quick story on
Okay,
that for you.
yeah.
So at that point in time, I remember one day Mr. Orty coming into my office and saying, listen, we want to get rid of all the local promotion guys. I want you to keep the staffs, the regional staffs, but the local guys, we want to get rid of them. I didn't quite understand what. First place, I'm not good at firing people.
Right.
But secondly, these are our guys. These are guys in the field.
Yeah.
And we were talking, and he said that, listen, we had talked to the other companies, and they came to the conclusion we'd rather go to the independents. I have to pay, and we had to pay for their salaries, their expenses, their insurances, their travel, and everything. It costs a lot of money. Sometimes, some weeks they get a record played, some weeks they don't. So we're looking to go with the independents where they get a record played, they get paid for it. It's just that simple. We don't have to pay all the expenses and everything else. And I said, yeah, but Mr. Gordy, I says, don't you feel that somewhere, how are you guys as companies, your own competitive natures, and that's not going to work well for you. And we're Motown. We're not CBS. We're not
Right.
Warner Brothers. No, we got that. Don't worry about that. Got it under control. Okay. So I kind of thought about it, and shortly thereafter, I left Motown because I wanted to be one of those guys because I knew where this business was heading.
Yeah.
I really did. I knew that you're going to put the life, the destiny of your company into the hands of 6 or 7 guys. They don't have to be bad guys. They don't have to be greedy.
Yeah.
Your own competitive natures. I mean, CBS is going to say, I'll give you 2,000. The others going to say, I'll give you 4,000. The others going to give you 8,000. And that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what went on after that. I mean, I went independent because I seen it. That was the future of the industry.
Yeah.
I really did. As far as the really making money and being very successful, that's what I wanted to be.
Yeah. Was Private Eye your first label that you started, or had you done one
No,
before
I
Private?
actually had one small one called Lark,
Okay.
and that was at Universal.
Okay.
And then Private Eye came after. I had that at Sony and CBS, and then I had Raging Bull after that, which I think was Raging Bull was at Polygram for a minute, and then we went with the independent distributors.
Okay.
Yeah, that was fun times.
Yeah.
It was good times because
Yeah.
I took a lot of those acts that had been around there for a while. Like I had Rick James, I had Cameo, I had the Gap Band,
Yeah.
I had James Brown, I had Bonnie Pointer.
Yep.
So I had taken a lot of them that by that time were kind of slowing down in their careers, and we just jacked them right up again and just did really well with them. Really
That's
did
great.
great, and it was fun, and it was great.
And you have my godfather, Bootsy Collins.
Yeah, we had Bootsy for just one album. Though.
Yeah.
We had
For-
one album
Yeah.
with
Is this
Bootsy.
at Lark?
Yeah.
No, that
with
was at
Private Eye?
right?
no Raging Bull.
Oh, Raging Bull.
Oh, Raging Bull.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow. Because I'm looking here, you had, at Private Eye, you had the Shy Lights, right?
at the Shy Lights.
The Staple Singers, Bonnie Pointer. And then you broke that huge hit for Matthew Wilder,
That was my first record on my big label deal
Break
with,
My
at the
Stride.
time with Columbia Records, which is now Sony today. That was my first deal, the first record we did out. I had that record #1,
Yep.
and that was a great situation. I mean, they were paying me
Yep.
for the album.
Wow.
They were paying me to promote the album that I owned, and it was just a great thing. And it was my first record. I remember the ink wasn't dried on the contract before I was renegotiating the new deal with Columbia after Matthew Wilder, because it was such a big record.
Yeah. That was a Break My Stride. It was huge.
Still
and you
today.
still hear it.
Yeah.
You still hear it.
I think it's been on 3 or 4 national. It was remember O.J. Simpson did it with the budget rent-a-car.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, nobody's going to break my stride. And
Yep.
you hear it all over the place. And then just recently, not that long, a year ago, last year, on TikTok, it was #1. They did a whole Rudy Gazootie with it on there.
Yeah.
It was a very big record for us. But that was fun.
Huge record. Yeah, I remember when you did Beast in Me on Bonnie, and Bonnie she really hadn't had any hits since Motown, Sugar Pie. She did Sugar Pie Honey Bunch, and what was the other big one? Heaven Must Have Sent You.
Yeah, Heaven Must Have Sent You.
Heaven Must Have
Oh,
Sent You.
that was great.
And then Bonnie I'll never forget. I was like, she had a video and hair was all wild. And I said, look at Bonnie. And that was Private Eye.
Crazier than
I know.
her and Jeffrey.
I know.
I've heard some
were
of the stories.
Boris and Natasha.
They were
Your,
They
his
were.
manuscript.
I remember having them, and I don't know where it was. I don't know if it was just a football game or it was a Super Bowl, but they wanted Bonnie to sing at halftime. And I remember getting a call about a week later from the people from I don't know if it was NFL or whoever it was responsible. I don't know why, I believe it was in Oakland. But anyhow, they still hadn't left the suite. They
No.
said, Joe, it's been a week now. We don't mind accommodating it. So it's been a week. They were moved in. So
Oh.
yeah,
That sounds
it was
about
great.
right.
Who was the guy that was producing Bonnie at the time?
Jeffrey. Wasn't it Jeffrey?
No.
Was somebody else?
Yeah. I can't remember his name. I'll think of his name.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Richard
either.
Perry.
Oh, Richard Perry. Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
Richard
yes,
Perry.
Yes.
Yeah, he was doing it.
Yes.
He was wasn't he manager, right?
No, Richard Perry's producer.
Yeah, he's a producer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's producer. He produced all the big hits on Pointer Sisters.
correct.
Jump and
Yes.
Automatic and all the big.
Okay.
He produced that breakout album where the Pointers became huge.
Yeah.
Ooh, and I know Bonnie was kicking herself in the teeth probably because
Yeah.
they became so big.
Yeah.
The Pointer Sisters became so big.
Yeah.
Damn.
And unfortunately Bonnie's career didn't ever really go where Jeffrey kind of promised it would go. But there's reasons for that too. We won't get all off into that.
It's rich. It's a rich
We won't
story.
get all off into that.
Yeah.
So I was reading that you help with the formation of EMI Records, which is a division of Capitol Records.
Well, actually, Capitol is a division of EMI.
Oh,
Yeah,
so the other way
EMI is
around.
the parent company in England, and Capitol Records has been here. And then then EMI decided to open up EMI in the United States, and I was one of the original promotion guys that they brought in to do to run the promotion division at
Right.
EMI. That was right before I went independent.
So right after that, 1979, you form Isgro Enterprises, Inc.,
Yes.
an independent record promotion company, and you consult. You promote records for major labels, including
All of them.
all of them.
All of
I know.
them.
Just to be
All of them.
All
yeah.
of them.
So read the artists.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Just
yeah, but
read them out loud.
it was just literally all I had every
Yeah.
label in the
Yeah.
business.
Michael Jackson Culture Club,
Yeah.
Neil Diamond, Diana Ross, Paul Young,
They're the ones that just came to my mind. But
Barbra
we had
Streisand.
every label. So and I decided to do something a little different than the rest of the guys were doing. The rest of the guys were kind of been in the business for a long time. They were old-time promotion guys. They were making $200 a week, $250 a week. But if you have 6, 8, 10 companies, that's $1,000, $2,000 a week. That was big money at that time.
Definitely.
And it was very good.
Yeah.
But when I came in, I had different aspirations for things. I really did. I didn't just want to have the pop promotion because that's what they did is pop promotion.
Yeah.
I came from Motown.
Yeah.
I had good relationships with all the urban guys.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of them had just lost their jobs.
Yeah.
So I put the largest independent black promotion business together. So I had the black division. I had the pop division. I then decided to have my own labels. We had a management company. We had a touring company. And it went on from there because I figured there's just more than I just didn't want to be a pop promotion guy. Especially with my background, it was more urban than it was pop.
Yeah.
So
It's like
that's where Isgro Enterprises came in.
right.
Because it was going to be more than just promotion.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
It's a whole full service company.
Mm-hmm.
Development and
Yeah.
I mean all of it.
Yeah.
So how did you cross that bridge from that? Because you crossed that into film. Often.
That was easy. Remember, I told you where I wanted to work as soon as I got out of the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
So it was kind of easy. I had the estate rights. I had the rights to do the movie.
Yeah.
And at that time, the idea wasn't mine originally, but in Hollywood, they wanted to do the Hoffa story for years. Stallone wanted to do it desperately. Schwarzenegger wanted to do it. It was really a hot commodity in town. But they didn't have the rights.
Right.
And other concerns that they had.
Yeah.
And I assured him I had the rights and proved it to him.
Yeah.
And that was it. It was done the next day.
Wow.
And that was $60 million. And you're talking about, what was it,
1992.
Yeah, 92.
Yep.
It was $60 million like that.
Wow.
There was no hesitation.
Wow.
You produced the brilliant film Hoffa, which stars Jack Nicholson in the role of the American labor union leader James Hoffa.
Correct.
The film is nominated for 2 Academy Awards, a Golden Globe nomination.
That's you want to know what's funny about that?
Tell me.
Just my luck. So at that time, if you had Jack Nicholson in a movie, you were assured you were going to have the best movie of the year, Academy 5 Academy Awards and everything, and especially in that role where he went on TV and said that was, in his opinion, one of his finest roles he ever played. So I figured, this is incredible.
Yeah.
We got Jack Nicholson doing it. We got Danny DeVito.
Right.
who was
Directing.
yes, and acting.
Yes.
Armand Asante.
Yep.
We had a really good cast at the time. And with Jack Nicholson, I figured, in like Flynn, who do you think I'm competing with that year for the Academy Award for
I don't
Best
remember.
Picture? Well, it was Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise with what was it? A Few Good Men. I'm
Oh.
saying I got Nicholson, but
So
they
you-
got Nicholson and Tom Cruise. Yeah, I said, Jesus,
You can't
all
handle
that.
the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
That's who won the
Right.
Academy Award that year. I said, that's
Oh,
something.
man.
Yeah, but it is what it is.
Wow. Written by David Mamet.
Correct.
So it was shot in New York, New Jersey, and Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you just answered why. What is it that attracted you to this character, this story?
Well, I worked for him.
Because you worked for him. See,
Yeah.
when you first came in, I was like, wow. So I remember I was, you and I, were friends at the time when you made this movie, and I got to go to the premiere. And at the time, I knew that Joe was a big fan of the show Columbo,
Yes.
and he was a big fan of Peter Falk.
Yes.
So I call his management. I want to surprise Joe, and I get the girls from the office to help me out. And we arrange for Peter to come in to meet, Joe at the premiere. We send a car. And then all of a sudden, there we are at the premiere. Everybody's all dressed up, and I'm watching Joe. And everybody says, Peter's here. And I wish we had had iPhones at that time because I just watched
I
you.
got the pictures.
Yeah.
I could roll pictures with that. I was like over the moon. It's Columbo.
Yeah.
Right?
His biggest, he was a big fan. So
Yeah.
I just remember watching Joe, and I'd look over and I'd look at Peter, and I was just looking at your face. And it was like $1 million face. Just, it was like, what? He's here? Oh, it was just amazing.
I said, how did you guys get there? Apollonia did it.
Yeah. I went
said,
over there and I
wow.
was, hey, he's a big producer. He's making movies.
Yeah.
You guys got to hook up. You got to meet. But that, to me, I thought was just like a real great moment. I love
It
that.
definitely was a great moment in my life for sure.
Yeah.
I still have pictures on the wall at home.
Yeah, too fun. And that was
Yeah.
like, so we're sitting there and, this all-star cast. And I'm like, he made this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Joe made this movie. And this was with your production company, Raging Bull? Or you didn't have that yet?
I don't know. I think that was all under Isgro Enterprises. I think
Okay.
it was.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Okay. Alrighty. So you have now a production company, Raging Bull, and you have projects.
Yeah.
Lucky Luciano.
Yeah.
I bought you that book.
Yes, I know you did.
The Testament, the Life and Testament of Lucky Luciano, written by Gosh.
The Last Testament.
The Last Testament, yeah. And I remember buying that book, and then I got this mad crush on Lucky, his photos. And I remember thinking, Joe would love to read this book. So I remember I gave it to you. Didn't I sign something to you or something
Yes,
in
you
there?
did.
I think, okay.
I got pictures on the wall at home of things you signed to me.
I'm just like signing, is that Latino? Orale! Signing the walls. You're also doing Pablo Escobar.
No, we're not going to do that now.
You're not going to do that one.
No.
And then you have the Stone Pony.
No. These
No?
are all old ones you have here. These were things that we had in pre-production that we just never moved forward with. I'm doing the next film with Nick Velawango, who did the Green Book.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so his next film, which is about the Westies in New York, and we're moving forward. That's going to get done.
Oh, wow.
And I have a couple of offers on the table with this project here, the Hitman project,
Right.
which will not be called the Hitman, but
Right. That's my next question. You just produced your own documentary, and it's called The Hitman documentary,
correct.
based after a book?
No,
No?
this is the real story.
The real story.
Yeah,
The book was
as
real
opposed
story.
to the
Yes.
book.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is the life and times of Joe Isgro. So, The Hitman doc, directed by Martin Guigui.
Gigi.
Gigi. I want to say Guigui.
Yeah.
And this is the life and times of Joe Isgro. So, you invited me to be to be interviewed in your documentary,
And
which
I was honored that you accepted that.
thank you. I was excited. I was so excited. I had to do a lot of research and, make sure that I knew,
Who you were.
who I was, remembered my name that day. But it was really an amazing compilation of your entire life, Seth.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Was there. We were over at
Unbelievable.
Warner's,
Yeah.
All
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were at Warner's,
Yeah.
which was really interesting because after we saw
After
it,
we saw it
we went over to the original area where we shot the album cover of Purple
for
Rain.
Purple Rain.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah.
staircase, and I stood up there, and it was a live shoot. I remember Seth was like, "Let's get out of here," and I go, "Just shoot the photos." We took the photos, but the documentary was so rich. Now, explain to us, as far as it coming out and all your plans with that.
Well, I haven't done anything. We finished it about a month ago. It was
Mm-hmm.
completed. I haven't done anything with it yet because I have some offers now for a theatrical
Mm-hmm.
movie and for a limited series.
Based on the documentary about your life.
Oh, based on my life, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I have those right now. So I didn't want to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Didn't want to conflict or collide with other
Right,
plans
right.
that we're doing right now. But we will do something either
Mm-hmm.
before or after a theatrical movie. That'll be up to the people who I
Wow.
do the deal with.
That's
That,
great.
Wow.
That's coming.
That's great.
I know I have a question. Who do you want to play you?
You know what? People ask me all the time.
Come on.
I have no idea. Could care even less.
Oh, but you do
No,
care.
I don't, not really, because first of all, this would have to be, me, in my 30s.
Right.
That's 40 years ago.
Hmm.
So,
I don't know. Just-
yeah. So I don't, as long as it's done well and everything, and I
Right.
know the one offer that I have, I know they can do it really well because
Mhm.
they're
Big company.
Mm-hmm.
Really good.
big operation who has
Right.
done a movie very similar.
Yeah.
Mm.
That,
Okay.
I can't get too far with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I know
don't.
they'll do a
Please.
great job
Yeah.
with it. So that's, to me, I let the creative people. And when they're, as you know, Apollonia, films aren't just a matter of like who looks great and who's. It's all dollars and cents. I mean,
Right, yeah.
who brings in this on foreign?
Yep.
Yes.
So you know how that
The
works.
politics.
Yeah.
A lot of
Oh,
politics.
yeah.
So to me, they're putting up their money.
Mm-hmm.
But let them mitigate their what they consider mitigating their risk the
Mhm.
best they can
Yeah.
and be as creative as they can. When I give them stories, I'm not insisting that this be
Mhm.
this way or this
Yeah.
has to be in there. You know
Right.
what? Hear the stories.
Right.
You're the creative people.
Yeah.
Put it together where you see where you feel it's best. You've got
Right.
a track record of doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
And
It's
that's
great.
the way I look at it.
Yeah, it's great to be flexible
Yeah.
because otherwise you don't get it made, right?
Yeah, or you're, I just, I'm so honored that anybody thinks my life is that important.
Are you
that they're willing
kidding?
to do
It's
a
exciting.
movie over it
Definitely.
and pay me on top of it.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
gosh.
Yeah.
So I'm so honored about that. I'm not going to let the creative minds come up.
The energy in your office when, we first met, it was always exciting. It was always busy, and the energy and the beautiful ladies, that worked at the office. It was just so much fun. It was
Yeah.
so cool. And that's just a reflection of him.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm honored. You did have very beautiful. I was always under the opinion that beautiful women can be smart and intelligent too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can.
Yes.
And the girls are all attractive
Amazing.
girls, and I
But,
always protected them like my
Yep.
5 sisters.
Always.
Always looked down on them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was so great when I'd come and visit you, I'd go and hang out at the office, and all of a sudden it'd be time for me to leave, and I'd, say hi to all the girls, and you always made sure that I had someone to walk me to my car.
Mm-hmm.
It's Pasquale sometimes, or
God rest his
Ray, little Ray.
Oh, right. Ray Calabrese.
Yes,
Funny
whose
guy.
story I'll never forget. I remember there was a story, you were having a meeting, something happened, there's
Oh.
this big, you tell the story.
Oh, he was. I said, listen, Ray, because he is just really a funny guy.
Mhm.
He can mimic anybody
Mhm.
on TV. Anybody.
Yep.
You let him see him 5 minutes on TV,
Yeah.
he'll mimic him.
Yeah.
So Ray, he's always kidding around. And I said, Ray, this is a really important meeting. I said, cut with the humor a little bit here. Not so much humor. Okay, Joe, all right. So he went and sat in the chair like this, and sat. The chair just went right back. Completely fell backwards in the chair. I mean,
You can see his little feet.
yeah, well, I could see his 2 feet sticking up behind the desk. right? So here's a guy he was going to be very, very serious about the meeting and everything. First thing he did is fall over backwards in his chair. But God bless him. He's a good guy, a good friend.
Oh my God, that was just so fun. Just great people that I met. Your friends always had a great
Pasquale, too, yeah.
time.
God
Always
rest his
just
soul.
oh
Yeah.
man.
Pasquale, Gail, Stu.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was Stu there at the time, man?
Yes, Stu was there.
Stu passed
Stewie,
also. Yeah.
really tall,
No.
right? No, Stu? No, Pasquale was tall.
No.
No?
I wasn't tall. I don't think anybody in my office was really
Well, but
tall.
they're taller than me.
Well,
Everybody's
taller
taller
than you.
than-
I mean, yeah.
all 5'2" of me, right? Everybody's taller than me. But anyhow, now you
Well,
have.
Before we get out of here, I always like to ask people these 10 questions. So just
Sure.
give me whatever is the first thing that comes to your head here. Tell me one thing about you that most people don't know.
And I've been so public lately. I found out things about me I didn't know. So, I don't know if there's anything I can tell you about that hasn't been out there. Let me think about it. I'll go back to that one.
Okay.
That's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
What's the greatest part about being Joe Isgro?
Now, then,
At any time.
I've had
Anytime.
Well, there were some times it was not a great
I
idea being
understand.
Joe Isgro. In fact, even knowing Joe Isgro wasn't a great idea, right? So, I mean, at this stage of my life, it's a different story. You know, I'm in my 70s now, and it's good because I work when I want to work, and I work with whom I want to work.
Yeah.
So it's a great time and a great time in my life for me right now. To be able to work with the people that I want to work with, producers and artists and things like that, and developing new artists. It's more fun for me. I don't have to go to an office. I don't have to be up at this time. When I'm going to have my meeting. So that's kind of a great time.
Yeah.
Or a great thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
On the opposite side, what has been the most challenging part of being Joe Isgro?
You got another hour for the show. I've had a few challenges in my life, that's for sure. I mean, I've had close calls medically. I had an open heart surgery. 2 of them, as a matter of fact, replaced valves, so got through that okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Amen.
And Vietnam was a little bit of a trip for a couple of times.
Yeah.
And then after all the nonsense that went down with the government and all that, that was... And that went on even after the case had ended and I won the case. It went on for 10 years after that because the government kept appealing the case. And back to court we went. Until finally, almost to the day, 10 years later before it was finally resolved.
What do you think your highest career point has been to date? What has been your pinnacle thus far?
I don't know. Some people evaluate it on how much money they're making, and they say, "Well, that was the high point of my life. I was making $80,000 or $80 million a year."
Yeah.
If you base it on that, it would have been the things. But to me, the high point of my career is the ability to put all that together. I mean, it wasn't just promotion. That's what I did, but it was record labels, touring companies, publishing companies, and that was great with the help of a lot of really good people. Around me, and certainly a lot of good friends.
What has been your biggest career regret?
Let's see, biggest regret. I don't really know that I have any regrets. I don't think I would do. It is what it is.
Okay.
I had rough times and good times, but I don't think I'd have done anything different.
This one might be a little loaded. What's the biggest public misconception about you?
I don't even know the public even has a conception. I mean, it depends on what type of what time in my life you're talking about.
Yeah.
At one time, I was a great music entrepreneur and very respect. Another time, I'm a gangster. So I mean, it just depends on the time because I've had so many different things in my life going on. It's not just been one thing. So I don't know if that's an acceptable answer to your question. It's the best I can give you.
Yeah. Okay. At this point in your life, would you choose love or money, and why?
I'd certainly say love.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was focused because I had no money as a kid. as a kid, it's really difficult for your parents to sell you on the fact that it's better to give than to receive.
Yeah.
That was horseshit and applesauce to me when I didn't get a bicycle
Yeah.
on Christmas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but later on in life, when I made money and everything was going really well for me, I could appreciate what the meaning of that. It really, because I had everything I wanted.
Yeah.
I really did enjoy
Yeah.
giving to people I didn't. And love, certainly. I'm caring about somebody because I don't. In my life right now, I'm a single guy. My father said, "You'll walk alone one day," and he was right. So, but it's all good.
Yeah.
You know, it's all good.
Couple more. What's the craziest rumor you've ever heard about yourself? The craziest thing that you've ever heard about yourself?
I think it was in Hitman.
Oh.
If my memory serves me right, and it really even bothered my mother because I got a call from my mother because
no.
at that point in time, you know, I was getting barraged left and right. So in Hitman, it went on to say, and this guy went way out of his way to try to defame my military record and everything.
Oh no.
And he had said that he said, well, I can't. Joe Isgro was a decorated veteran, and he was in a lot of combat activity, and here were the things he was in. But it was easy for him because he enjoyed to kill.
Oh.
I mean, how did he say this about a 19-year-old kid that never had a gun in his hand in his life, never had any prior arrest record for anything? I mean, you want to tear me apart, like my mother said, you want to rip me apart, that's fine. But something a guy serves his country, you know that, and that's your response to it. How do you say that about it? I don't know. I guess that was probably one of the things that really kind of, only because it affected my mother. The rest of the stuff she got used to, she didn't pay attention.
Yeah. If you could trade places with one person for a day, who would it be and why?
If I could trade, Elon Musk.
Yeah.
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 I guess it would be him.
And why?
Because I really admire the guy. I think he's ballsy, and he's a player. He's a real wheeler and dealer. He changes things, and he said, "Well, I really like the guy. I think he's an incredible guy." So that would be my answer.
Awesome.
All right. And then the last one is, this is a finish the sentence. If I could do it all over again, I would.
I don't know. That's kind of what I said in the beginning. If I do it all over again, I've had a blessed life, even with all the baloney that I went through. I don't know that I'd say, God, I wish I wouldn't have done this, or God, I wish I wouldn't have done that. If you really hit me with a couple of things, I'd probably say, yeah, I should have done that.
Right.
I shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have done this. But to say overall in my life, is there things that, like something that would be major to me that changed my life? Is there something I would say I wouldn't have done that, or I would have done this? I don't really think so.
Okay.
Great answer.
I don't know how much that answers your question.
No,
but
it's great.
It's the best I got for you.
Any answer is a great answer.
And are we going to go back to number one?
Oh, you got it.
Tell me one thing about you that most people don't know. It could be something really obscure.
Well, I came up with the one with, he was a big Peter Falk fan that nobody knew.
That's right.
Yeah.
But let Apollonia she would come up and find out.
Okay.
I don't know. My life has been so public. I'm in 29 books.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that until somebody told me. Says, well, I'm in the Hitman book. You're in 28 other books.
My God. Do you like to cook?
No, don't like to cook at all.
Do you draw?
No. There's nothing creative about me at all.
Have you ever written a song? Lyrics?
No.
Okay. Do you like to sing?
No.
No. In the shower?
No. Not even in the shower. No. I like to help people. I like, especially an artist, a struggling type artist. I really have empathy for them. I really want to see if I can do something, help them. But I do that. I don't know. I just don't have a good answer for you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change anything.
Yep.
Because I look at each thing that I experienced had in life led to something else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So nobody has a great life all the way through, and nobody has a horrible life all the way through.
Right.
Different events change things. So if you change something prior to this event, that event may never have happened.
Yeah.
By leaving Motown was a sad time,
Yeah.
but it would have never, if I didn't leave Motown, it wouldn't have led to where I ended up at.
Yeah.
And then if I didn't go there, it wouldn't end up to the bad times. So
Right,
you could
right.
just follow your entire life as you can, I'm sure, do the same thing in Apollonia.
Right.
You can do the same thing and just say,
True.
I shouldn't have done that, but then that wouldn't happen if I
Right.
didn't.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's right.
I guess
The journey.
Convoluted answer, but the best I got for you.
The
Peaks
journey.
and valleys. The peaks and the valleys.
That's right. Wow.
Well, this has been an unbelievable.
Well, I certainly enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Anytime I get to spend time with Apollonia.
Yes.
And certainly since we've met, enjoy your company.
Thank you
But
so
it's
Thank you,
always an
Joe.
honor and a
Thank you so
pleasure.
much.
Thank you
Privilege
so
and a
much.
pleasure. My honor.
My
Thank you so
pleasure.
much.
We're honored.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
We're done.
Yes, we're
Yeah.
done. We just want to say thank you so much for watching Apollonia Studio 6. Thank you to my friend Joe Isgro.
Yes. Thank you, and we will see you next time.
See you soon. We love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. You want official Apollonia merchandise? Visit ApolloniaKotero.store and ApolloniaKotero.com.